Professor Enes Kofi Abochi is the head or the chair of the advisory board of the CEOs Network Ghana. This morning we're live on Joy News TV, Asase Radio, Wezo TV, and a host of other online platforms. You may want to share the link. It is CEO Summit 2023 or CEO Summit 7th edition. We want to proceed with the program by acknowledging our first speaker who will run us through a CEO masterclass. Your Excellency, what we've been doing for the past 7 years is preparing future-ready CEOs, and it's instructive that our first masterclass speaks to the future is now, leading for tomorrow. Our first speaker is based in India, yet he's widely traveled. A wildlife and adventure sport enthusiast, coach and training and development consultant. Ayaz has over 35 years experience in academia and industry, and he's the co-author of A New Approach to Motivation, 4-Drive Model, published by Taylor and Francis in the International Journal for Human Behavior in Social Environment. He is an associate professor at United World School of Business, Calcutta, and a visiting faculty at the University of Professional Studies, Accra. Among other leading institutions in Africa and India, he has been a guest lecturer at the University of the West of England, Bristol, UK, and he's a certified Charlie and DISC assessor with wide-ranging experience as an assessor. He has been involved in training and development and change management process at Standard Chartered Bank in Zambia, Ghana, Botswana, Nigeria, and Sierra Leone. Ayaz coaches senior professionals and individuals for greater effectiveness in business and personal life. He has held many senior positions in corporate life. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to invite to speak to us on The Future is Now, Leading for Tomorrow, Professor Ayaz E Shafi.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and Your Excellency. It's an honor, absolute privilege to have this opportunity to speak with you in the audience, sir. Thank you. Jerry has been kind. He said a few very nice things, but more importantly, even before we began the discussion, he set the tone to it. And he said some actionable agenda. I'll try and make it such that we go back with something that we can act upon. Very quickly, one small part I would like to highlight. I am from India, lived all my life there, still live there, but I've spent quite a bit of time in the last decade or so in Ghana. So there is this association, right? You look at the screen there, what you see is VUCA. VUCA is an acronym for volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. That's the world we operate in, actually. So when we thought that here's this opportunity to speak to an august audience like you, I thought nothing better than this could be the topic. We are currently in an environment which is absolutely uncertain. You don't know what's going to hit you tomorrow. Till about a year ago, a student wouldn't have thought that it would be possible to submit a thesis in no time practically through ChatGPT, actually, right? It takes about 3 minutes. You want a thesis, you get it there. And plagiarism may not be an issue, the way it is designed. Things are changing drastically. And I liken it to what it was, sorry, is it working there? You'll excuse me, this is a tech issue, right? And the current business environment, the current world, the way it is more like what Charles Dickens defined it. This is more in the context of the French Revolution, right? And I can't see a more apt simile than this bloodbath all around. There's creation of a new world happening parallel. Frankly speaking, who would have thought about a year ago, the bankers to the world, one of the major banks there, Swiss Credit, would be going down the way it did, right? Amazing stuff. And Silicon Valley Bank, and you don't know what's going to hit you next. So the guillotine is there all the time, right? But at the same time, something new is emerging as well. something very different is emerging as well. And whether we are ready to take advantage of what's emerging is the key. The problem is that we continue, maybe I'll continue to speak. We continue to look at these collapse of various organizations. Things are taken as an event. We do a bit of postmortem and we say, okay, it's all right. They did a few things which were not okay. Maybe management was bad. Enron kind of story, right? And then we move on. Lessons learned are quickly forgotten actually, rather quickly. And the fact is, the world has always been a dynamic place. Like I said right in the beginning, the only difference is the pace is enhanced many-fold in the last couple of decades actually. Many folds actually. Earlier you would have time, so I go back to my younger days and when computers were coming in. That wasn't such a long time ago, right? With the gray hair, it does look so, but the fact of the matter in the life of humankind, that's not such a long time ago. Computers were coming in. And I have the luxury of this time to move from one to another. So Lotus 1, 2, 3 to Excel, I had the time for transition. That's not available anymore, actually. You are in an environment where things move very quickly, actually. The pace, like I said, has changed drastically. Now, there are organizations that have taken advantage of this quick movement, quick shift. And I'll put up something for you, and you'll know what I'm talking about. That is an amazing story, absolutely. You start selling books, and you end up selling practically everything under the sun, including tech space, right? And is there a lesson for us? Are we looking at an organization which said, yes, we are starting with this, but our job is not just to sell books. We are looking at how the world is going to unfold. And as things unfolded, they went into all kinds of things. So it's an amazing story, actually. We don't go into this. I think it's one of the most interesting stories that you can... I'm not just talking about a success story. I mean, there are success stories galore. I'm talking about a story which tells you that you just need to reimagine how you want to operate. Just to think about what is it that you could be doing next, right? It's look, our approach has been that steady, fixed approach. You have a 10 years plan. That plan has a perspective. The plan was built in a particular context. Problem is, 10 years has become too long a time, actually. Far too long a time. So the plan that you make in this context will not work 10 years down the line. And that's probably what hit the next one. We know the Sally story too, right? Right. We know this too. And if you think about it, they were in the denial mode. If you go back to the Nokia story, you will realize they were in the denial mode. They kept saying, no, this is not how it's going to go. Android is the way. Apple is not going to get anywhere anyway. Why bother? I remember that famous interview where the CEO, the last CEO, before the collapse, took out an iPhone and threw it. Said, not worth anything, right? They were in the denial mode. It shows, right? So what's happening? What is happening? We need to relook the way we have been operating or the way we are operating right now. The way we see ourselves. The whole structure has to change. Right? How we operate, how we run our business, how we imagine leadership, all that has to undergo some kind of change. Organizations have to become more fluid, open, more adaptable. That's the key. And you can't have the old-fashioned approach of a pyramid, people sitting at the top telling you what to do and what not to do. It can't operate like that anymore. You are in a different space altogether. So if you continue to operate like that, that rigidity being in place and that flexibility, adaptability, not allowing you to move quickly enough to take advantage of what is emerging and to discard what is dying out, you're going to die out as an organization. And that's the key. That is the key. Leadership itself has to be reworked. How do you operate as a leader? Right? No, so when you look at leaders, I am the CEO. I operate this business. And this is how I operate this business. Right? I have a team. The team works the way I want them to operate. Right? I've got leaders working with me. They're all leaders in their own right. But are they networked enough? Do they understand each other's style of operation? Is there co-ownership of responsibility for ensuring success of the organization? I mean, I could be heading the finance function, I could be heading marketing. Most of the time, I may not be bothered about what's happening with somebody else. Right? And that's a sure recipe for failure. That's a serious problem there. Reimagine, rethink interaction. How do you interact with your people? How do you operate with them? What is it that you do with them? What is it that you, sorry, this is my pet theme actually. How do you make them feel? And that's important. Is it just about telling people what to do without their contribution, thoughts, ideas taken into account? And that's how you need to reimagine how does one lead in this context actually. Right? Go beyond standard expectations. Look more at impact. Are we looking at just profitability? Look, that's a problem. We all been through those business courses, MBAs and programs of like which said your prime motive is profitability. That's a flawed concept. That's a seriously flawed concept. Profit is a reason for the business. Is a small reason for the business today, right? You go and ask a farmer, develop a farmer mindset. Ask a farmer, why do you grow whatever you grow? Profit? I don't know, honestly I don't know. Maybe today these commercial farmers could tell you, yeah, of course, but 50 years ago, 100 years ago, this is more to make a difference. What is it that I'm growing? Is it of the best quality? Does it help the society in a bigger way? And that was the key. We did better. I'm not saying this, we need to just discard all this, but we need to go beyond this profitability mindset. That's crucial because that's where investors would want to look at. The bottom line matters, but that bottom line cannot be the only line actually, right? Where are you making a difference? Where is the impact coming from? So move from profit to impact, command to collaboration, competition to co-creation. Within the organization there are competition. This part is particularly important. All of us keep looking at how do I grow, how do I go to the next level, and there's a sense of competition within, right? The other is I'm commanding people down the line. I need to start looking at collaborating rather than just commanding. I'll come back to beyond expectation to wholeness. But look at control to evaluation. We are looking at controlling most of the time. By recommendation, start evaluating jointly. The last word is important. Start evaluating jointly. In the sense that get a sense of how the person or the team concerned went about things. How is the market responding? Get an understanding of the collective effort that has gone into whatever is being done, or someone is trying to achieve, or the team is trying to achieve, right? But the last part is, beyond expectation to wholeness, how do we show up at workplaces? We show up to deal with some expectations that the stakeholders may have, the bosses may have, right? I'm not myself when I'm at the workplace. I would want to believe I'm a professional, therefore I need to wear a different hat. Bad idea. The best me doesn't emerge in that situation actually. I need to start looking myself as a complete entity, as a human being. How am I contributing? What am I delivering? Am I just here to produce the results that are desired? Profit to be made, that's about it? Or is there something more that I want to do? If you and your team can accept this and start following this, I can promise you there'll be much more cheer in the workplace. Results would be far, far superior compared to whatever you can achieve basis command control approach. Right? Bring that wholeness into the workplace. You'll feel the difference. You'll know the difference actually. Right? So therefore, what is the way forward? Initiative. Get your people in. Now, there's a challenge here. And we always look at how much are we going to spend on this one, you know. Take your people out. Put them through a process. Take your top leadership team out. I do these workshops, I do leadership coaching, and I typically recommend to whoever is willing to listen that we must take the entire team out on an offsite, spend 3 days, get them together, get them out of the workplace. And often enough I hear people in India, in Ghana, in other parts of the world say, but the budget is a little tight. and that's a serious problem. What are you looking at actually? This tight budget will continue to be a problem because you are considering this quarter's bottom line. You're looking at that expense and saying, that eat into my profitability, therefore I'm not going to spend. Look at the future. Look at what's going to emerge later on. Right? I think that's an investment that's worth making. And I believe if you do that, your long-term advantage will far outweigh whatever you're considering to be a cost, whether man-hour cost, whether monetary cost, or whatever else. The businesses cannot operate like normal. And you're not going to say that for the next 5 years, this is exactly what we are going to do. 5-year plans are out. Whether we like it or not. We may want to refute that one, say, no, we need to long-term. Of course, look at long-term. But look at long-term more in, not so much in terms of products and services and profitability, but more in terms of the impact that you can make, because you don't know the world you will have in 5 years' time. You have no idea. Nobody has it. Right? So put them through those spaces. Let them come up with ideas. Let them challenge themselves. Let them question the sensibility of whatever you've been operating with. And this is very strongly recommended. Let the team come back and say, this, whatever we've been doing has been giving us results, may give us results next year as well, but maybe in the long run, we'll go the Nokia way. Possible. Or even research in motion way. Does anybody remember BlackBerry? Or was it Blueberry? Right? And that's where it is. So I would want to just close with this small thing. Jerry is right here, breathing down my neck. Thank you. All right? Just want to close with this one. We just want to remember, in what we perceive to be threat, there lies the opportunity. We just should be willing to move with the times. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.